I'm going to speak from my soul and just trust that the exact message that I will say is the exact message that needs to be said for the human that is listening, which is you. So first, I want you to know that you are powerful, you are loved, you deserve so much and are worthy and capable of so much. And anything or anyone that feels heavy or frustrating, you can put it in a box for just now. It doesn't mean that you're avoiding it or not acknowledging it, but you're a strong human being and you can do hard things and you can carry heaviness, but you don't have to right this second. I want you to visualize a box that you're just putting that thought, that feeling, that experience, that person, that thing, whatever it is, or multiple things. You can even go out and get a box if you need to go to that magnitude to really just release it being heavy for the time being. That alone can be the biggest act of self-care that one human can do for themselves. Is this feels heavy and I want to put it down for a second. And I'm okay with that. And you can even write a post-it note in the box and just put it on your bookshelf for a moment. And when you've gotten rest, you've been able to play, you've been able to do something for yourself, you can, when you're ready, pick that box back up and open that box and say, okay, whatever this is, I'm strong and I can do this. And we really work through it. We break through it together. And know that there's so much on the other side for you and that it's going to be big and beautiful. And like, we all desire more, but if we don't have the energy, if we don't have the space for it, there seems to be like this still like energetic block that we hit. And one of the most powerful things that you can do to get to a bigger life, a more enjoyable life, whatever you're going and reaching for, one of the most powerful things that we can do to get there faster and with more ease, flow, and fun is to clear everything that is not in alignment with us, everyone that is not in alignment with us. And it is a big task. And that's why I said, put it in a box, put it on a bookshelf until you're ready, but know that it will still feel like there's some sort of block that you can't pinpoint. It's the box. The block is the box. And I really just want to like pause here and like give some love and acknowledgement to the podcast sponsor of the day, which is my girl, Nicole. She is a ads traffic extraordinaire. Like that doesn't even do her justice. I'm going to make sure that her link to learn about how she can run your ads for you. You can learn how to do your own ads with her. I have had her on the podcast and truly she is just one of the most beautiful human beings inside and out. And just one, she gets her clients amazing results, but she truly cares and you can feel that she cares. And that's just like a big deal. And just like a very like soul led leader. And you can feel her heart all the time. Like I feel so deeply connected to her. And so that box is on the bookshelf and the block is the box. And when you feel stuck, it's because of something in the box. Okay. And so when we can just start to take the post-it notes out of the box one by one and say, okay, this one feels the heaviest, so I'm going to tackle this one. Or if you're like, okay, I want to break through one that doesn't feel so heavy because I'm just not there yet energetically, right? You can pick either way. There's no wrong way to do this. But as you clear the blocks, you start to feel lighter. Like imagine, here's a really good analogy that I've used in the past. Imagine climbing a mountain with a backpack filled with like so much weight, more weight than you can carry, right? Like weight is in the backpack and you're climbing up the mountain and you're like, okay, I can do this, right? You get tired faster. You have to stop more. And so I want you to imagine the same analogy, like the same situation, but you don't have the backpack, right? Or somebody's walking next to you and taking the weights out, right? As you're walking up, you're like, wow, this like, I feel lighter. Like this feels amazing, right? The mountain doesn't feel so difficult when you actually break through everything and everyone holding you back. And this is so much like our life, like our business. The business may feel heavy and you feel like it's the launch, or you may feel like it's the clients. And those things might be true, but they also may not be the whole truth. Look at the backpack. What is weighing you down? And go deeper and deeper with all the things weighing you down and all the people weighing you down. And also remind yourself that you are the author of your own story. You can rewrite this. If you're not at the top of the mountain yet, there's still time, right? Like, you can still adjust how you get to the top of the mountain and enjoy it. Have more ease, flow, and fun. Me a few years ago was that human with the backpack on, and I was just like, you know what? We're going to hustle. We're going to put our head down. We're going to do whatever it takes. I want to get to the top of the mountain. And I forgot that there was another way to do it, which is letting all of that weight go one by one by one. You may go slower in the beginning, and you may see other people climbing the mountain with their backpacks. And you're like, no, they're faster. They're ahead of me. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and suck it up, and I'm going to put my backpack back on, right? And what's interesting is it's like the turtle and the hare, right? Like, slow and steady actually wins the race. I've had a slow and steady career for 17 years, and it's ebbed and flowed, and it's changed, and it's modified, and it's evolved. I've evolved, but slow and steady. And that's why I feel so confident in the long game of where I'm heading, knowing that, like, no matter what, I will get there, right? I've taken the time to take the things out of the backpack. So there are people further ahead than me, but they may have not taken the time to remove the weight, right? Remove the weight first. You are the strategy. And when you start to look in the mirror more at, like, okay, what excuses am I making? Excuses are totally valid. Don't make yourself wrong for having excuses. They are valid. It's a piece and part of you screaming for something, right? Like, think of, like, this is like analogy galore today, but like, think of a child throwing a tantrum. If you only look at the tantrum at face value and like, oh, they're just a 2-year-old, they're having a tantrum, right? There's a reason, even if it's not a right reason, if you will. The toddler's having the tantrum for one or like multiple different reasons. A lot of times when Emma is having a meltdown, she's tired, she's overstimulated, right? And so she is getting to the point where she's just kicking and screaming, and it's like, it's her body truly screaming for help, right? And so when we stop looking at the tantrum as like annoying, right? Which I know they can be triggering, totally understand that. But I've just really shifted my energy of like, okay, what does she need right now? Are you doing that for yourself, right? Excuses, I think, are a cry for something, right? Like, if you like go to work out and you're like, oh, I'm just tired, right? And you're like, oh, that's an excuse. Suck it up. That's keeping the weight in the backpack, right? When we actually like unpack it truly and say, okay, like, why am I making this excuse? Well, I'm making this excuse because I'm truly tired because I have a 6-month baby and I'm not getting the sleep. I'm going to prioritize sleep. So it's really not a bad excuse. It's an excuse of a redirection of what deeply I need more right now instead of doing what I think I should do, right? And so don't worry about the excuses. Use the excuses as cues of like, okay, what do I really need right now, right? Like, what do I really need? Don't shame your way to success. We're about loving our way to everything on top of success, like loving our way through everything. And when we can just really focus on this, it changes everything. I am so grateful that I slowed down to clear the way for more. I am in such a good overall energetic state right now because I went through all of the backpack. Truly, like, I went through and it was not easy, but it got easier because I kept climbing with less weight. And now I'm closer to the top of the mountain with so much joy, so much happiness that I'm gonna actually enjoy when I get to the top. And I'm like, I got here most of the journey with, so much more ease, so much more flow and fun, right? and proving to myself that you can do it a different way, right? And showing other people you can do it another way. You may look like at face value you're going slower in the beginning, but if you know you're absolutely going to keep climbing to the top no matter what, it's okay to take a break, right? You're going to get there. And the most beautiful amount of time that's specifically like designed for you. Okay, so this was all my intuition coming through. This is my woo side that I'm committed to revealing more of, because she's always been there, but revealing it and sharing it with you because I know that it can serve and support you so deeply. And when we really infuse the woo with the work, that is the secret sauce, I think, for everything that you desire. Like, it's the woo and it's the work together, like together, being BFFs and working through the discomfort, knowing that so much goodness is waiting for you on the other side. And that makes it a little lighter, even in the beginning when it is uncomfortable, right? When we stop avoiding the uncomfortable things, the uncomfortable conversations, the uncomfortable tasks, whatever it may be, when we really like say, okay, I'm ready, right? There's so much that you're about to break through, and it's so beautiful, more beautiful than you may even know right now. And I just can't wait for you to experience that. So here is your practical, this is your, the work side. Okay. Sit down with yourself and really think about what is weighing me down. What is in my backpack? And if you're ready to do the work, then let's start. If you're like, I need a minute because this is a lot for me to process, then like I said with the box, put the backpack there, right? Like, you don't have to pick it up until you're ready. Okay. I really do believe it's so important to be ready, because if you force this, if you shame yourself, we're already starting on the wrong foot, right? It gets to be from the most loving, centered space of like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to do the work, because it is the most beautiful, healthy way to begin this type of work. And so I'm just so excited for you to have that moment. And you'll know, you'll be driving one day, or you'll be sitting in or waiting in line somewhere, and you'll be like, you know what, it's time that I do this. And I really encourage you to really sit with that, because there will be no perfect time, but there'll be the right time for you. And you'll still be nervous and scared and excited and all the things. But when we can really get to the moment in time that you're like, it's time, and you feel confident in yourself enough to do that, that's where the magic happens. I've had this moment in my own life, and when this moment happened, that's why I'm here right now. Like, that one pivotal moment, I think 9 years ago at this point, it's hard to keep track of everything, but it was 8 or 9 years ago when I had that moment, and I was like, and we'll talk about that another day, but when I had that moment of like, it's time to truly do the work, I started climbing the mountain, and it's been beautiful. So I hope that you always know, like, I'm here on the journey with you, and I'm ready to like come back down the mountain and like lock arms with you. I was gonna say grab you, but I don't want it to feel like grabbing. It's like, let's lock arms. Like, I'm here. I've already climbed the mountain 75%. I know that the journey is beautiful. Let me come back down, help you unpack the backpack, and let's start climbing together and enjoy the journey. Like, enjoy it deeply, wholeheartedly, and watch your whole life transform, because you made that one pivotal decision to say, it's time to do the work. It's time to prioritize myself. It's time to love me, to love my way through this journey. And every challenge, love myself through the challenge, love everything, because love always wins. If you look at anything in the world or any situation, when you love yourself through it and love other people through it, and it may be from near or far, it depends on what it is, but love always wins. So why are we not using love to get to where you want to go, right? And to the level that you know you are worthy of, right? You may be like loving yourself here and there, but like, are we consistently, wholeheartedly, deeply loving you and loving your future you, right? Because your future you is so powerful and so amazing, but we can feel what that feels like now by loving ourselves more and making the decision to do the work so we can get to her faster, and not from a shame space, from a loving space. Okay. So if you're listening, this was meant for you. You were meant to listen to this. Feel free to listen to it as many times as you need. I love you. You can do this work. I'm so excited for when you know in your heart of hearts it's time. Don't force it. You'll know. When you know, like you'll know. And again, it won't mean that you're not still nervous or scared. So I don't want to like confuse that. Like it may not make sense to anyone else, but when it makes sense in your heart, you know that feeling. You know it so well. And this is the first act of truly loving yourself, by creating that moment and saying, okay, I'm ready. That's the first big act before anything else happens. You will transform just in that moment of deciding that. Then everything after that will just be like quantum leap, quantum leap, quantum leap. And people will start to look at you like, what is happening? What are you doing? Some people will be on board and some people will not be on board. And that's okay. This is your journey, not theirs. It does not have to make sense to anyone else but you. But that is why coming from an aligned space from the very, very beginning is one of the most important things. I don't want you to shame yourself into it. I don't want you to pressure yourself into it. I don't want anyone else to do that for you. You are a powerful, smart, capable, worthy human being, right? Maybe you forgot for a second, but look back in the mirror, remind yourself who the fuck you are, and decide that it's time to do the work. And decide that you're worthy of it. Decide that you are capable of it. Decide that you deserve the most juicy, delicious, wealthy, bougie, badass life. Those were all the words that landed on my heart. So like that sounds really good. Sign me up for that, right? And it doesn't happen for you. You make it happen. You are the catalyst to your story because you are the author and you can write the rest of the story from here on out. It is not over until you say it's over. You don't have to continue on any trajectory that you're already on unless you want to, right? And sometimes we forget that. I have forgotten that at moments. I'm like, oh yeah, I can choose again. I can choose differently. What is going to serve me? What feels good? Right? It is not selfish. Selfish has such a bad energy around it that we avoid it, right? So come from a space of like, this feels good for me, right? This feels like the best for me. Start prioritizing yourself. Start listening to yourself and watch your whole life transform without any external things really changing. It's really that recalibration with your inner self and connecting your head and your heart together so they're not at war, and really deeply knowing that it will happen. And you don't have to know exactly how it's going to happen or when it's going to happen. You just have to make that first or next decision right here, right now, and come from the best space that it like feels really good when you make the decision. Okay. So I'm here to hold space for you. I love you. You're amazing, and you can and will do this.